Hi. I've decided that in my research cycle while undertaking my final year project, I'm going to create some vlogs in which to record some of the research I'm doing, which hopefully will help me better understand what I'm doing, maybe get a deeper understanding of my research techniques, and also when I upload them, potentially there'll be a source of information for others trying to achieve some of the same goals. Now, first things I want to cover in this short video is how I came up with the idea for my final year project. Now, so the project is titled, in fact, let's just bring it up and I'll show you the front page. So let's just have a quick look at this. So streaming immersive audio formats for virtual reality. Now this has kind of come from a few years work that started out a couple of years ago where I produced a video for a project at the university where I filmed and recorded alongside Alex Her a virtual reality video with third order ambisonic audio of the UK Power Orchestra, conducted by Charles Hazelwood, at the Colston Hall in Bristol, where all of the artists were spread out across the hall. We recorded down the audio, spatialized it, multiplexed it with the video, and created a post-produced video. Now, I demoed this a couple of years ago at the final year show at the university, and a man or guy named Martin Gernon saw this, and he was very interested in its application for live streaming, for which he has a company that currently does that and specializes in the live streaming of brass bands. Now, this is something that I'd already identified as something that I was interested in, and so to get someone with a commercial interested in it as well has proved quite lucrative and has helped me develop my ideas a little bit more. Now, let's push on and move quickly to a report that I'm just pulling it up here so we can have a quick run through it. A report that I wrote earlier this year for the University of Martin, who are kind of doing this knowledge exchange. I can't remember exactly the name of it, but ideally I wrote a report, this one here, virtual VR technologies for live music, and basically this explores workflows, different devices, different software, on a very holistic kind of scraping the surface kind of level. Like, this is how we can do it, these are the current options, this is what we're looking for in the next coming years in terms of networks and capabilities and codecs and so on and so forth. So this is going to form a basis for a lot of my research for my final year project. In terms of we looked at workflow, I looked at hardware implementations, I looked at different software. There's a lot in here that won't be applicable, like stitching software and stuff. I'm not going to be looking at that. I'm going to be looking mostly at audio. But encoding formats, containers, codecs, data networks, the ability for consumer devices to decode all of these things. This is what I'm going to be looking at in quite a bit of detail. So I looked at, as I say, some network infrastructures. I looked at different cameras. I'm just going to scroll through this quickly because I don't really want to concentrate on it too much. Software, which is something I'm going to go into in a lot more detail in my project. It's going to form a big foundation of some subjective testing. And then we're going to be looking at, as I say, not the stitching services, but we're going to be looking quite a bit at what the streaming services currently, like, so we're talking Wowzer and Bitmoving. Well, I'm not talking about Netflix or Amazon Prime or anything. I'm talking about the companies that provide the servers that host all of this this content. Now, this is it's important to realize that my kind of perfect scenario situation currently isn't possible. The streaming servers don't currently accept the codecs that I have been researching or looking into as the best choice codecs. Now, and we explored a little bit of that here, but ideally I want to expand on it a lot more. Looked a little bit into 5G and stuff. Now, there's some really good research here, and I definitely want to draw on it for my project. Now, I want to move on quickly to my proposal so that we can talk about exactly what I'm trying to achieve. So, as I say, streaming immersive audio formats for VR, and my main objective is to demonstrate a proven method to stream high-resolution immersive audio with a high-resolution video component from a production environment to a consumer device via an online platform, so like Wowzer. So we're going to go from microphone to spatialization to multiplexing to encoding to streaming to decoding, and then consumption. So there's some building blocks there, and this is how I'm working my literature review. So I'm trying to break things down into certain sections from which I can then try and digest them in each sections. So as I say, I'm going to be investigating the feasibility of streaming VR experiences in current and future implementations. We're going to be looking quite heavily at MPEG-H and AC4, as they are the next gen audio codecs which will be used, but we'll also be looking at what's possible at the moment, because it might not be possible to use these codecs currently, and by the end of the project I want to have actually performed a live stream with high resolution spatial audio, which is something that isn't really possible. We're seeing it a bit with first order ambisonics, but first order ambisonics doesn't create the kind of immersion that's required to actually immerse the user to enough of a level for the experience to become real. Now, this is kind of a key thing with virtual reality, is it's not really taken off so much as people thought, because the experiences that they're offered aren't of a high enough quality. So people pick it up, they try it, they're like, okay, this is good, this is fun, but it's it's not something that they could see integrated into their day-to-day life, and that's because the level of immersion isn't there, and it needs to be better in order to get more people consuming the format. Now, we'll be interrogating. I will. I'll be interrogating the different schemes of audio. So we're looking at object-based audio, scene-based audio. So different forms of ambisonics. Like they're like the main examples here are object-based audios, Dolby Atmos, scene-based audio is like ambisonics, so the Facebook Spatial Audio Workstation Works uses that quite a bit. There's the mixture of the two. So G Audio, a company that are currently utilising their own kind of proprietary kind of codec called GA5, which utilises both object and scene-based audio, and then yes, so we'll be doing a big software comparison, and then we'll be doing some network tests, and we're going to try and see if there's a proven way that we can actually get a really a really immersive kind of product to the consumer.